regards to the VR, I mean, what we of course tried to do was to take issue with smart cities because I think that if you look at how they are now in the journals and how politicians talk about the smart city technology, is they're not questioning it, and precisely sort of by pushing that usage in a particular direction, you precisely got the feeling that I wanted you to have. And so you say, is that the future I want, right? So therefore we need to have a discussion on how to use smart technology rather than it is installed. So the idea was that you have smart technology coming and that the cross is social inequality. And the idea was that people who are in the middle classes nowadays can now still always have it their way, but that increasingly it becomes difficult for them. So here you had a premium member, he or she had access to vertical mobility, but on the other hand he had agreed to all these, it wasn't quite as free as you would like to. So thanks for your feedback, and much appreciated. And another question. Here's our main guest. So, Hans, great you're here. Warm applause for Hans Stem. I think I need to be on a microphone now for the moment. Please be seated. So this is a group of, partly it's the overlap of your own audience of this morning, and partly it's people who are just in the exhibition, and the main part of the group comes from Switzerland, and they're multimedia students, and they are here also to think about what their role is in their professional life as journalists or as people who know about technologies, visual technologies, and we agreed we would just have our conversation on the future of planning, and they will come in if they want to. And we also have the pleasure of having President Wouter Veldhuis, and I would like to invite you also to join us here. And Wouter is a designer. Perhaps you can say a bit about your background, because that's done by way of introduction. What's your background?
I'm an architect and urban planner.
What's your background, actually, in terms of profession?
I studied political science.
Okay, that's a good education
Yes.
for somebody working in the ministry.
And public administration.
Yeah. So perhaps start from there. I mean, you were previously working for the city of Amsterdam.
Yes.
And now you work in the ministry. I mean, so political scientists know about power. Do you feel that you are in charge?
No, absolutely not. No, it's interesting to see what happens in the city of Den Haag and in the national government level, because it's another kind of power than there is in a local community in the city of Amsterdam. When you think about shaping the city or planning the city, you have to be a bit patient, but after 10 years you can see what we all together thought of has become reality. And in Den Haag that's a bit different. I wouldn't say nothing happens after what we've been thinking about, but it's another kind of mechanism. What happens in the national government.
But I suppose that the difference is also that you have more money at hand, right? If you're in a national government, I suppose you have 2 zeros more for every amount you spend.
Yeah, that's right. But the costs are also 2 zeros bigger. Yeah.
Wouter, you have to share the microphone, unfortunately. Wouter, you work for clients at all levels of government. Is there a level where you think that nowadays there is the power, the transformative power?
Yes, there is. That's the city. So in that sense, Hans made the wrong choice, maybe.
moving from the city to the government, but I see a lot of power at the cities at the moment.
And can you give me an example? Because it remains abstract. If you're a student, I mean, okay, so now there are two people sitting on a couch, and one says, I moved to the national government and now in charge, but I don't know where power is. And you say, it's in the cities. It's getting more confusing by the minute.
Well, yeah, spatial planning is pretty confusing to start with. But I see a lot of examples of projects, and that's basically how things change by projects. And nowadays you see that the government is not able anymore to formulate projects, and cities do. So redesigning a station area or making a housing district, deprived housing district, better and more accessible for more people, that are very simple projects to do for a city.
But if things happen at a local level, if it's all about changing things, they always need the national government, right? Hans, in a way, because you have the financial power.
It's not only the financial power. It means it helps a lot, but there becomes a part when you reshape the city or redesign the city that there are problems that you can only solve when you take it on a higher level or a higher scale. Yeah. And then you need the national government to address it, to shape the conditions in which you can solve the questions on the local level. Right. And I think the power of the national government is that you can create conditions in which the cities can function up to in the best possible way. And you have to look at it at a national level, because not every city develops itself at the same, has the same process or the same time lap in which a city develops. So I think it's necessary to have a broader perspective on a lot of the questions that needs a bigger scale to address it.
Yeah. Now, one fascinating thing is that planning is really slow. And when you want to build a station like the wonderful station we have here in Rotterdam, it takes about 50 years at least to get it ready. But now we live in an age of smart technology, and smart technology goes really, really fast. How do you see the challenge of smart technology, Wouter, for planning? Is that making our business of planning with bricks redundant, or what is the challenge of smart cities and smart technology for cities?
It's a big issue. So to start with, when I started in my profession, I had to do all the things by hand, and it took me 2 months to get all the information of a site. Now I can do it in 1 second, 15 minutes at least. And then I know almost everything about a plot. So in that sense, smart cities really changed the way we work. We can work much faster and more accurate than ever. The other thing is that smart cities also kind of social, has a kind of social effects. And I'm really amazed, for example, in how social networks more and more change the physical environment by platforms where people communicate, meet each other, and plan together on interventions. So you see that the technology makes a platform, creates a platform where people are more engaged with city planning.
Mm-hmm. How do you see the challenge of smart technology for cities?
Well, first of all, the stones, are they redundant? You asked. I don't think there will be, because the development of the city, when it's slow and when it's developing itself layer by layer, it gives a kind of a flexibility and makes the city more adaptive to the changes, which will go fast and will go faster in the near future. The best cities are the cities that have grown slow in different layers of time. So I don't think the development of a city or the building of a city or parts of the city are redundant because of the smart technology and the speed smart technology introduces in the way we live and work in the cities.
I think we can use this group of young people for some research. It's because you are grown up with smartphones. So what do you think that does it mean? What does it mean that you now have the whole city in your pocket? That an architect knows everything he wants to know in a quarter of an hour and can then be created? What do you think? Is the smart city and the smartphone changing your life? Is this more important than where you live? Who has a thought on that? Yeah.
The biggest issue for me is like if everybody's sitting in front of the smartphone, it's creating a separation between yourself and something else, and you project all your thoughts into the device, and sometimes it's just good to lay besides it, just try to be yourself and live in the moment, and that's like I can see that in Amsterdam happening a lot.
So you say smartphone at the moment is bad for interrelationships among people?
Look, you have to use it as a tool, and you put away a tool when you're done working with it. And
That's a cool way of saying it. Do you think it's likely that that's going to happen? Is it because, you know, in the early days of the GSM, everybody was on the phone in the train, and now nobody's on the phone in the train. Do you think we will be able, as people, as human beings, to put away the smartphone within 5 years? Is that your prediction?
it's not my prediction. I grew up the first 8 or 9 years without anything in my hand, so it's easy for me to put it besides, but the generation below me, they grew up with it, so I think it's the hard part to take it away from them.
You had a thought as well.
Mine was the same thought about it's a tool, being able to use it for certain things is a great advantage, but then it can also hinder you if you're only using that.
Yeah, I have, I think, a nice example how it creates a new kind of community. There is in Amsterdam, there is an initiative of young people. It's called, I don't know how to translate it in English, but it's called Plug de Dag. It's young people who decided people who are at work, and who say one day, at least one day in the week, we go somewhere in the city, and I do my work online with my laptop or my iPad. Only I announce the place where I am, and a lot of people who are in that initiative come to that different part of the city, that specific part of the city, and do their work, their own thing. But when they have a break, they take a break which is a bit longer than the normal break, a few hours break. And then they talk to each other and they help each other in solving the problems they have in their work. And they look what's happening here in the neighborhood, and is there a problem which we together can solve. And what's really interesting is that people have different kinds of backgrounds, different kinds of work background, different kinds of backgrounds in education. And the combined power of the people and their intelligence solves problems in the neighborhood in a much higher speed and a much integrated, more approach than the normal way to solve a problem in the neighborhood. So I think it's very interesting. They decide we go for 1 month to that neighborhood, the next month we go to the other neighborhood. The only thing they ask is we want a connection, a wireless connection, that's all we need, nothing more.
You know, for examples where we have a solution of examples where you say this is a really positive configuration where smart technology adds to quality of life in cities. Anybody of you while he's thinking?
Well, I think I mentioned already these social communities. I think that's really something that's new value in neighborhoods. In the past, people lived for years in a neighborhood. Now